Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And welcome to the grand opening of GOD Lithuania. I'm Andre. I'm the Chief Marketing and Innovation Officer of GOD, and I'm extremely excited to guide you through a roundabout 1-hour keynote where you get to know GOD, our company, and the new offices a bit better. But more importantly, you will get to know how we are driving the digitalization every day forward. With the help from our top GOD professionals, you will get some very interesting insights to know in the fields of code review, Angular, Agile, DevOps, and hybrid cloud. After that presentation, after that keynote, you can chillax, calm down, and grab a drink. During the way, we prepare everything for the so-called mob programming challenge, where we would like to showcase you how a bunch of random people can solve easily coding tasks with the help of agile methodologies. But before we start, I would like, first of all, to welcome our guests, the Economy Minister, Aušrinė. Armonaitė, I hope I spelled it right. And after you, our German ambassador, Matthias, Sonn. Both would like to give us a welcome speech. You are on stage. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Labas vakaras. Guten Abend. Of course, I'm very happy participating in these events and this particular event of GOD expansion here in Lithuania. As I am aware, GOD is in Lithuania already for 1 year. So as we were joking with the ambassador that, okay, it's better to participate when there is something than to open something that is not present there. So it's not my joke, it was the joke of the ambassador. I'm sorry, I'm sorry I reveal it. Anyway, in these turbulent, uncertain times, there are industries who are growing rapidly, who are winning, and your industry, ICT industry, is something that is doing so. That's good news. Another good news is that Lithuania is one of the most digitalized countries in the world. Not only because our digital services, our investment into our digital capacities, but also because of companies like yours finding their homes here in Lithuania. Now, I know that number one thing your company is interested in is talent. And we are ready to help. We are here for you. Anything you need, please let us know. We were just recently, before coming on stage, we were discussing that you are already taking advantage of some of our schemes. I'm very pleased to know that. I hope that you'll be able not only to hire talent here locally in Lithuania, but also to attract talent to Lithuania, to your company. And it's a win-win situation, both for the company and for the country that is interested in attracting talented people from all over the world. So, thank you very much for your work you're doing here. We're here to help you, to facilitate you, to guide you if needed. I wish you all the best. I wish not only the CEOs of the company, not only the high people in the management, but also everyone, every member of the team, all the best. And let's move forward. Let's create something nice here. Thank you.
It works. Good evening. My name is Matthias Sonn. I'm the German ambassador in Lithuania. And I would like to welcome, first of all, Minister Armonaitė, dear Aušrinė. Thank you for your kind words of welcome and for your action in favor of a German enterprise that has found a place here. Also, dear Ms. Khmaladze, ladies and gentlemen, before I come to my scripted speech, I have to share with you an experience I had when I received the invitation to this event and the invitation to speak here. We always knew German enterprises, German businesses, and the German government, including my embassy, we always knew that Lithuania is an excellent destination for foreign direct investment, including German direct investment. And then I saw the invitation and I thought, now the higher powers have also realized that Lithuania is a fantastic investment destination. God himself has witnessed this. And then I asked myself, isn't this a bit blasphemic? And then I was told, just pronounce it GOD. This is what I will do. So, thanks again. Thank you very much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here and to have the opportunity to take the floor after Aušrinė Armonaitė, who has in her title not only the Minister of Economics, but also of Innovation. Actually, I think this is really what brings us together today, innovation. And if I may add, Minister Armonaitė is doing a great job in this regard as well. GOD, as one of the most important IT service providers in Germany, has joined the Lithuanian market with new offices in Vilnius and Kaunas, thereby also circumventing the traditional rivalry between these two cities in Lithuania. Smart move. This is good news and indeed a reason to celebrate. We need that these days. There are not too many reasons to celebrate. We should not be shy to call it a grand opening because it is a real asset for both Lithuania and Germany. I've said it 2 weeks ago when we laid the time capsule for the new logistic hub of Lidl, one of our big German retailers, and I say it again today. To see companies coming to Lithuania and our economic relations thriving is not a given in times of pandemic, war, and rising electricity and energy prices. GOD is not the first German IT company expanding into Lithuania. In the Baltics, we see a strong push to make way for digital solutions. Actually, quite a ways ahead of my own country, Germany, in that regard. We have a unique habitat of IT experts, startups, as well as research and development resources. For the business community, this is all popular knowledge and a bit like a no-brainer. Nevertheless, it is true. A further proof of this strength is that Lithuanian startups like Vinted and Trafi have been successful in the German market. However, whereas companies continue to explore the Baltic markets and business-to-business contacts work relatively well, there is still room for improvement where it comes to the government level. Here I look to my country, Germany. What do I mean? In order to live up to the challenges of digitization, e-government, and making our economies greener and more sustainable, we have to take a steep learning curve. The question of how to provide the best framework to realize these objectives remains high on our German agenda. I'm convinced that Lithuania and its Baltic neighbors can provide us with meaningful answers in this regard. Having said this, I hope GOD's investment in Lithuania is another important link to connect our digital economies better. Lithuania remains to us a premium partner, a reliable EU member state, and a close, very close NATO ally. I see it as a win-win situation. Such private investments are key for keeping European economies innovative and competitive on the world stage. Let me wish the GOD management and staff, all of you, a very successful continuation in Lithuania. I would like to thank you all who worked for this grand opening today. Also, a big thank you to our Lithuanian partners for their support and commitment. Thank you.
To change the world, all you need is a couple of keystrokes. Everything around you, an infinite array of tiny switches. Developing reality may seem scary, but only to the untrained eye. At the moment, the developer is looking into Vilnius and Kaunas, and this developer is God.
Not that God. Talk not about that God. We will talk about this God. So, I'm Vilma, Khmaladze, CEO of GOD Lithuania. I want to thank each of you who came here to celebrate with us 1 year anniversary, what we are calling that grand opening. So, GOD started in 1985 in Germany as IT service company. And it helped businesses to thrive through digitalization at that point. So the same challenges we're facing today, we are getting digitalized more and more. And this is what is giving us opportunity to extend to other countries like Lithuania. And we're here today, all of us, because of GOD is coming to Lithuania. So we have offices in Poland, in Germany, and India, but we like Lithuania as well, and we like our talents, which we can find in Lithuania. So we will be continuously working on our plans. We have very huge plans in Lithuania, actually. And like I said, all of you are very much I really want to thank each of you because you gave something to this to happen today. Because all year, all of us were working to make this event happen. Thank you very much. So, who doesn't know what GOD does? I hope that everybody knows. But let's take a look.
The digital transformation is unkind to those who hesitate or wait. Businesses are faced with the choice to change or to fade away. That's why at GOD, we transform enterprise IT systems. Imagine the pain of working with multiple documents, different files, and many users. Now put in on even a larger scale, and you'll have total chaos. Yes, off-the-shelf software takes out a lot of hassle, but it doesn't find the answer for every need. So we do it differently, by delivering and maintaining tailor-made software solutions that suit every individual demand. Give us a spreadsheet and we'll turn it into a software or complex production system that influences entire assembly lines around the globe, with no compromise to the highest security standards, of course. Let's talk examples. By creating a secure web-based platform, we help to establish a company-wide value exchange process, drastically enhancing continuous improvement process and even reducing CO2 emissions along the way. Another case, the development of highly secure and easy-to-use software for the electronic components production planning. The result effectively brought global stakeholders together, sped up verification processes, and reduced mistakes. Development of the software system for a huge logistics center consolidated their entire inventory into a single cloud-based web app and made the former manual process obsolete. And GOD's built automated software solution helped logistic dispatchers massively reduce the maintenance of their carrier's management. We scratched only the surface here. As one of the largest and full-service IT providers in Germany, we meet a wide range of requirements and serve all phases of the software lifecycle. We operate in the dark so that you can be in the spotlight.
People say that anniversaries, however small, are our opportunities to recollect our memories and accomplishments and cherish them. So today I want to share our accomplishment and say how happy we are as a GOD, as a company, with our main goal and accomplishment, people. We have 24 people as of today working in GOD Lithuania. We have developers, Scrum masters, project managers, recruiters, DevOps specialists, and we are very proud about our experts and the quality we are providing every day to our clients, and working together with different kind of cultures like German colleagues, Poland colleagues, and India. So in GOD, we are always flexible for our employees to have as much as a comfortable working space as possible. So we are offering flexible even working hours, like hybrid mode to work from home or from office. So we have very nice actual offices built in Lithuania, and we planned and worked on that for a whole year, designing, installing, and this took a lot of effort from whole our team. But even if we have such a nice actually offices with live plants, with using LEDs, with adjustable tables, with gaming space, you can name it. It's like I feel that I'm like having second home in my office. I don't want to leave, and we want to provide this kind of opportunity and option for our employees to work in our offices. But if you feel much more better and more flexible and more comfortable at home, you can work from home as well. But you need to be in Lithuania. So I would like actually to present how offices look like, because like people said, picture speaks 1,000 words. So this was a quick glance to our Lithuanian offices and working atmosphere we have, and we plan to have up to 200 people working in our offices. So yes, you heard that right. We have 24, but we are looking for 200. So within the next year, I hope and I really looking forward to have these offices fulfilled with our talents from Lithuania. So, but beginning of all Lithuanian beginning, it's somewhere else. And don't go off too far if you want to listen the story where it started. Andrei?
Well, thank you, Vilma. Well, GOD was founded in 1985. Pretty old company. But it was still developing and changing over the time. And one guy who's seen a lot is our group CEO, Igor. Please, come on stage and tell us more.
Yes, hello. I want first to thank you everybody for participating in this event, and my special thanks go to Minister Armonaitė, I think, and Ambassador Sonn. Thank you for your kind words. Very nice. Thank you. So, Andre introduced it. I want to say a few words about the beginning of GOD, how we started, and what was our way till today we're standing here. It was mentioned a few times, GOD was founded in 1985, and the foundation story is actually turning around one picture I want to show you. I don't know if anyone can identify this. This is called a computer. Those days, computer looked like a black box, and this time a white box maybe. And this is an IBM System 34. Today, we still call it mainframe systems. They are very heavy-duty machines. Up to 16 developers could program in front of this machine. And GOD started in 1985 actually developing on those machines with assembler code and COBOL. So that's are the programming languages those machines understood that days. And yeah, we started small but real, and time changed in the year 2000. The new economy was rising, computers were becoming smaller, everyone had one in his office, the internet was rising, and also the customers had more demand for new technologies, internet technology, new programming languages like Java were hip that days, and that's where I started in April 2000 at GOD as a developer actually, and and I'm still here, so I like it at GOD very much. Yeah. What did we do then? After 2000, we had ups and downs, but today we were spreading not only in Germany, but also we have founded very nice locations in Poland, our first non-German location, and then we moved over to India and Lithuania. And nowadays we have over 500 people employed, so this is very nice. Expansion we had in the last years. The key markets we deliver is actually the automotive industry. So we are driving the change, the IT change over decades in that section. However, we are open for new markets, of course. And what are we exactly doing? It was told IT full service provider. What is an IT full service provider? We deliver and serve the clients with solutions from the beginning to the end over the whole complete application lifecycle. And the application lifecycle has three main building blocks. One block is the software consulting. So consultants are telling the customer how to organize software or how do a cloud solution will look like. We will hear it afterwards later on these days. The second and the largest building block of GOD is the software development. I told you we started developing software with COBOL, and you might not believe it, but exactly the same code is running unchanged till today. So it's almost 40 consecutive years with no bugs or breakdowns. It's very impressive. But we are not developing in COBOL for mainframe. The largest sector is a new technology like Java, Angular, cloud, hybrid cloud development, JavaScript, you name it. And the third building block of the full IT service provider is running and maintaining systems. This means we are responsible for having those systems sometimes even 24/7, so running the complete year without shutdown for business critical applications that are installed and run in production plants. And someone might ask now, how do we do this? Why is it possible? And that's possible because we have so many fantastic people who work for us in the dark, having a huge impact. And only with these kinds of people, we are able to do what we are best at, driving the digital transformation to every company in the world. This is our road, our vision. And how do we do that? And we do that by giving the answers of tomorrow and leading the customer into the digital age. And I am 100% sure that with the opening of GOD Lithuania, we will get the right people that are developing with us together the next step software that we can be proud of. This was a brief history of GOD, and again, this would nothing without the magnificent and dedicated people working for us. You are the backbone of the company, and thank you for that.
Igor, thanks a lot. Well, now we're coming, let's say, to the next part of our presentation, the Dev Talk. As Igor said, the foundation of our company are our people, and they work hardly in the dark, and what they do have an impact around the globe. And today, we want to put this into the spotlight. Our top GOD professionals would like to share with you their passion, their insights in the fields they're good in. So, please welcome with me the first speaker, our CTO, Pavel. He wants to say something about code review.
Hi, I'm Pavel. I'm CTO at GOD.dev, and I want to talk about how to create new function at speed. How to create new function for long-term software. So GOD, or GOD like a God, works on important projects, on long-term projects. Our projects are used in the whole world, in every continent, and the sun never goes down, it's every time over our projects. And if you're working with important long-term projects, of course you have a lot of releases. And for every release, you have new functions, new code. It means more releases is always more code. At the beginning, the application is very small and have only core functionality. And it's pretty simple to add additional functionality to the small software. But during the time, the software becomes bigger and bigger and had a lot of functionality there. And you have no time for creating a clean structure in your software. It's pretty horrible to add additional functionality to the software in this state, because you have no structure there, you have a lot of bugs there, and this is the point why we have software review as a service. We do software service not only for us, but for another companies, for example, for Lufthansa. We get software in this state, and after our code review or architecture review or software review, we get the state with clean structure, clean architecture, and it's pretty simple to add and to extend software. And in this case, you will have structure like this. Why we are doing software as a service? Of course, the first point is maintainability. If you have clean structure, it's really simple to find the bug in the software. Another point is scalability of the dev team. If you have a really clean structure and not independent modules, it's not possible to work with a big team on the same software. You can have maybe 2 developers, but it's not possible to work with 30 developers at the same time. And short onboarding time. If you have a scaling architecture, if you have a recognizable architecture, it's pretty simple to developer understand what is the application about and in which part of the application, for example, you should find the business logic, and with which part of the application you will find the connection to the database. Maybe first, how the software development works. In general, we have 4 different levels. First, requirements, what's the application about, what the application should do. Second point is architecture. It's about technical architecture, what is our current environment, where application should work. Then we speak about the components, because we use a lot of different libraries, a lot of functionality already implemented by another smart guys, and we don't need to implement everything again and again. But what we should implement, of course, is our business logic, and therefore its main part of the application is coding, or software development is coding. Then, what we are doing during the reviewing of the application, we have a list of criteria for every level. For example, for requirement, do you have any acceptance criteria? Or do you have additionally to functional, non-functional requirements? But the architecture, we really deep thought about how can we measure the quality of the architecture. First point, of course, how simple to develop the application, how simple to maintain the application, and how simple to deploy and build the application. For quality of components, we use tool-driven way, for example, Sonograph or 101, but we do it in the manual way, for example, using clean architecture principles of Uncle Bob. For code reviewing, they use tools as well, like Findbugs, PMD, Checkstyle, Sonograph, but they're using manually as well. So, and for this point, we do the checklist. And they see, oh, look, you use no acceptance criteria, but we think it's a really nice idea to have acceptance criteria-driven development, because in this way, every developer can understand in which case his functionality is done. Or do you have no functional requirements, and developer cannot understand how many users would use your application? Or you have no scaling architecture, so the developer cannot recognize or can recognize, for example, you have onion architecture, but the functionality which belongs to the connection to the database is in the wrong place. And we say, yeah, please move this point. It is in the wrong level and do it in another level. Or for components, sometimes now the customer have bidirectional dependencies between modules. And if you have bidirectional dependencies, it's really horrible to extend the functionality of your application, because in this case, you must completely test your application after that. And any small change can destroy the whole application. Do you have one directional dependencies of every module? You can change your functionality only one place and change only one part of the application. So, and you should do it every time, every sprint. And after every sprint, we can check your application again and again, and our criteria fulfilled or not. And in this case, if you spend a lot of time, you are able, like we, to extend your application, which are 20 or 30 years old.
Hello, my name is Dominika, and today I have a pleasure to talk to you about Agile and how we are in GOD approaching and fulfilling and trying to understand the Agile mindset. So basically, why, first of all, is the word turning Agile? A very popular word now. It is because, very generally speaking, of course, Agile actually proved to be successful in the world of change and complexity, because it helps us and shows us how to deal with complexity and actually how to adapt to change. As simple as that, much complicated in the practice. But to understand how this really works, let's come back to what was before, and it was waterfall. As many of you maybe know, in waterfall, you've got the project, and all project activities are divided into the sequential phases according to the tasks. So let's say we have first generating of idea, and then we put the specification, everything. We write the whole big book. And then maybe we build a prototype. After the prototype, if this is what we want, we build the product, we test it, and we deliver to the customer. Well, of course, the expectation is that everything works smoothly, in a predictable way, and according to the plan. But the reality is usually different, and things rarely go according to plan. And first of all, if you think about software development and waterfall, testing done on the whole thing at the very end means just a tragedy. I mean, it will cost you a lot of money if you want to change everything and test it at the end. And waterfall really works for the sort of predictable system. So two conditions. First of all, you've got all the requirements up front, you know that. And the second condition, you know the risks. So building a house, waterfall works here very well, because you know it's complicated, but it's well understood, and you can plan for it. But if you come to the software, do you know any project, for example, do you know all the specification at the start of the project? My experience is that there is more unknown than known. And this is exactly when Agile methods comes to play, This is where we learn how to adapt to change. And Agile methods, the most popular, of course, is the Scrum framework, and we deliver the product incrementally, so in small time boxes. So all the sequences from waterfall, when you had, specification, testing, developing, building, all that happened in each of the small interaction, each maybe takes 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So what we get at the end of each of the interaction is the pieceful of the useful functionality, a piece of useful functionality, and we can show it to our customer. Customer can give us our feedback, and then we plan the next interaction, or we actually change the plan for the next interaction based on this feedback. So actually we really decrease the risk of doing something wrong. We try to do it right this way. And all Agile methods, they have one common basis. Agile Manifesto 2001, 17 people met together, and they put together those 4 principles, 12 principles, I think 4 values. They said that working software, people, interaction, customer feedback, responding to change, this is much more important than plan, tools, processes. And this way we also go, but maybe enough theory, Now let me talk how we actually get things done in GOD. And yes, we're working with Scrum. Scrum is really popular, is proving successful, and the first project, I think, in GOD started in Scrum about 10 years ago. It was an inside initiative because things didn't work. People couldn't reach the milestones, so they changed the way they were working. And at the end, it proved to be the successful way. Since then, we've built quite an expertise. We've got now, I think, more than 20 projects that works with Scrum. And last time we've calculated over the last 3 years, we maybe run with our teams more than 1,000 sprints. But what the most important, we really had many releases, good, successful releases on the customer side. And yeah, to really understand where is the main thing, you have to understand and see the Scrum team in practice. And I wanted to tell you a short story about one of, actually this year, a situation we had in one of our teams. So this was the incident with Log4j, the weakness, the vulnerability in one of the very commonly used logging library. And what has happened is that actually users could log in and put malicious software there. So we had this problem in several places in our application. And the team was in the middle of the sprint when we received the message from the customer that the urgent fixes, they have to be made. So what the team did, first of all, as soon as they got the message, they actually met and assessed the problem. Then they replan the sprint and then deliver it. They managed to deliver actually the sprint goal together with the fixes. And it sounds pretty obvious, but actually it isn't, because let me tell you what they didn't do. First of all, they didn't wait for anyone, to plan them for them, to say, okay, now you should do something about it. They didn't wait for the next meeting, next sprint planning, or for someone to come back from the holidays. And why? Because they actually felt committed, and they felt responsible for the product. And this is where the Agile values come to play. This is an example of the Scrum team that embraced the Agile values. Second point is that actually they have to feel that they can do it. They have to have the skills. And this is the key thing, in GOD, when we're building products, we really create the team based on the requirements. So the skills in the team have to feel so people can actually build the product themselves without external dependencies. And this makes development product process basically much shorter. So the cross-functionally is the key, and we take care about that very much. The second thing is that they actually made this decision, several decisions. First was that to assess things as soon as possible. Second was to replan the whole sprint. Third decision, maybe many of other small decisions on the way, was to implement, how to implement the stuff inside to deliver, to manage. And this is an example of the self-management, that the small Scrum, nimble teams, they've got this self-managing, but it's easy to say about that, but in GOD we know no one and there's no team that actually is born with self-management. It's a process. So we try to, when someone approaches and starts the project, to introduce, to let him develop the skills, and at the same time to provide a safe environment for people learning how to make their own decisions. And I think the one key to the success is that these people could make their own decisions because they knew they are empowered by the organization to actually make those decisions. They didn't ask me or the manager what to do, or can they decide, because they knew they can decide themselves. They knew the organization will respect their decision. And this is the key to the success, to actually empower people, and so they know they can design themselves. So these are the small steps, on the simple case, how this big agility works. It all starts, and the key are the nimble teams that do the best job ever. So we do support the teams. We've got Scrum support, we've got communities, we have knowledge sharing. We actually also build ourselves software. By the way, I'm looking for people also working in this project. We track Agile metrics for continuous learning, and this is our little baby. So, well, this basically results in the working software for our customer, and this is how we embrace agility. We empower people. We give them the skills, we give them opportunity to develop. And yeah, thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Piotr Powstański, and I'm lead front-end developer at GOD. And my topic for today is Angular, our main technology for web-based application. Let me start by presenting you who really likes Angular. So to be prepared for today, I study a few surveys that try to answer the question which technology is better, Angular or its competitor React. And then the surveys show that when it comes to selection of the technology, really depends on the learning curves of those technologies. So it turns out that startups very often decide to use React because the most important thing for startups is to develop their ideas as quickly as possible, put them to the market, and pivoting those ideas as long as they become profitable. And from that moment on, Angular starts to shine because performant, robust, and secured software is much more critical here. Let's have a look who already trusted Angular. Who is here? Samsung, we have Google, we have Microsoft, we have Volkswagen Group, we have a PayPal. So as you can see here, Angular is trusted by the biggest market around the world. So we have automotive with millions of connected cars. We have financial market, which really relies on secure software, and online services which support billions of users. This is the world of Angular. Let's dive also at the Angular ecosystem, because it really covers all of the aspects of modern based applications. So we can see that we have a library which allows us to request data from our servers, which is later presented to the users. We have a routing library which navigates users from one feature to another. We also have a great library for state management, which is called NGRX. We also have a great library for forms. Forms allows us to create new data in our systems. We have also RxJS library for communication between components in our applications. We have also great UI components, which are Angularized version of Google Materials. And the last but not least, Angular CLI, which is a tool which automates our work by generating code for us. Let me also share with you very important aspects of Angular in my personal opinion. So the first one is the paradigm on which Angular is built. This is object-oriented programming. So this paradigm is well known from 50s. So programmers were struggling with the common issues for decades, and nowadays we can take full use of their experience. The second thing is dependency injection, which allows us to develop software in approach which is called interface over implementation. This, what does it mean? It means that we are producing contracts between our services and their clients, and if there is any need to change our services, those changes don't affect their clients. So that way our software is much more flexible and cheaper to maintain. In the end, I would like to also share with you about some activities in our company which support our developers and our clients to speed up the development process. So me and my colleagues a few years ago, we decided to run a community in order to share our knowledge about Angular. And after few discussions, it turned out that our projects really are looking for some common ways how to orchestrate all of those Angular building blocks together in an appropriate way. And this question always led us to launch a project which is called Angular Reference Architecture. So we gather all of the best practices and put in one place. And we did even more. We developed a small but still fully functioning application based on this architecture. We also included some ready-to-use solutions for common cases like error handling, handling of unsafe data, how to also translate our application, and many more. We did even more. We developed some generators which really speed up our deliveries. You can just run a command and bam, in the speed of light, new skeleton of a feature has been generated, and developers can really focus on implementation of business logic. And this is how do we support our developers and our customer in a development process. Thank you very much. I hope you found interesting topic in Angular, and I also convinced you to learn more about this technology. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody. My name is Timur Galeev. I'm working at GOD as lead cloud architect, and today I would like just to share about our experience and knowledge about DevOps. Basically, it's a DevOps culture, but yeah, we will see. So I would like just to start with DevOps, how it's appeared in general. In the past, we have developers, we have operators, like administrators. But we haven't this connection person who can connect these two teams. Because administrator has knowledge about the environments, about the system, but developers has missed this knowledge. But developers has knowledge about how they can develop the code. And then people start emergently to thinking about to create a new team, a new department called as DevOps. This is what we also did. So, in general, I would like just to speak about infrastructure, which one we are used, where we started, and what we have today, and where we're moving with infrastructure. In the world, we have a lot of tools, a lot of technical stuff, a lot of some CI/CD tools, which is necessary for the building process. And we also started to think in. And after the years of the experience, we came up with this technology stack. As you can see, we have Kubernetes in the middle, but it's our bottom tool because we love containerization. In the past, we started with containerization. We just running virtual machine. On the virtual machine, we just running the application. But today, we have several approaches in the bottom of Kubernetes. But on the top of that, we have OpenShift, we have Rancher, and such of rest of the stuff. Our main tool is OpenShift, and we are Red Hat partners. For that case, we have some features which we can use on the OpenShift. Also, we are building an OpenShift. We deploying an OpenShift, so it gives us some kind of feature. And for creating some kind of this environments, we using infrastructure as code methodology. In the past, we started with Ansible, but today we are step by step moving to Terraform. Why Terraform? Because Terraform gives us some mechanism to save the state, for example, where the several developers, several DevOps can work with 1 or, 10 environments at the same time. And also, it gives us approach to update the infrastructure, update some tool for it. And now we have this approach when we can start Terraform, and after 15 minutes, we have new environment. Now I would like to tell or explain how our pipeline works. Basically, we are using this 4 tools. It's our main tools. It's Jenkins, Argo, CI/CD, and Bamboo. Today we are also moving to the Argo because it's natively tool from the Kubernetes. And as you can see, we have typical pipelines where developer can just commit something to the repository. Then we are checking some dependency for the project. Then we're starting with the build on the OpenShift or Kubernetes. Then starting with the build, there where we have some artifacts. Then starting some unit tests, which is written by developers. Afterwards, we have integration tests, usually integration tests written by us, by DevOps. And we have some reports for that, which is related with vulnerabilities. And vulnerabilities can be related with a, system or with the code. And we have weekly, one day, where we can speak with our developers. Like, hey, developers, we have this problem with the system, and maybe you know how you can help us. So we have this communication. And at the end, we have just CD, community, continuous deployment, continue to the library, where we are running our environment. And at the end, I would like just to share about our culture or daily. And it's the typical questions, typical tickets we have from the developers, from operators, or some other department. And yeah, we are very open to discuss with our developers For example, developers can ask, hey, DevOps, we have the questions how we can, or which one tool we need to choose for, or which one libraries we need to choose for building our application. And then we have the meeting where we can discuss about this tool, how we can implement, and after the week, we have decision for running it. And we are very learning team. We are we spend a lot of time for learning, for new technologies. We testing a lot of technologies. And after discussion with the developers, with the teams, with architects, we deciding, okay, we must move on this way. We must choose these technologies. And yeah, I would say that sometimes we need to spend like 100% our time for learning and like 5% for implementation, because this 5% not important that you know these technologies. That is what I would like to share about our DevOps culture. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Today I'm going to present you hybrid cloud. For those who are intrigued about that, I hope your torture ends now. For everyone else, sorry. My name is Stefan Lackner, and I'm working at GOD as a DevOps, and today I want to speak about how we put car into the sky. You may ask how we achieve this feat. Sure, that's a fair question, but that's why I'm talking now to you and try to explain it to you. If not trapped in this conference, you would be able to take a look into the sky. And especially here in Lithuania, you have a lot of clouds in the sky. And that's exactly how we deploy automotive software into the sky, by putting them into the cloud. Not any cloud. Not even only the private or the public cloud. Now, we are talking about hybrid cloud. The question may pop up in this room, what is a hybrid cloud? And how we make use of it. Imagine there's a big orchestra, yeah, having a bunch of musicians in place, like one cello and the piano and violins and such. And of course, someone who's playing the triangle. Just tell me now, why do they play in harmony and presenting and enchanting stuff of music? Yeah, it's because they have a conductor. And that's more or less everything about hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud is more or less a conductor. Or in more technical terms, hybrid cloud is a cloud computing environment that uses a mix of private on-prem cloud and public cloud services with a perfect orchestration between those platforms. On one hand, we have the private cloud, a cloud computer environment which is dedicated to the customer, and on the other hand, we have a public cloud managed by more or less evil corporation, just kidding. And the companies cannot really solely rely on private cloud networks because it lacks versatility. And that's, on the other hand, they cannot rely just on public cloud because business are rightful, hesitant to put their sensitive intellectual process on public display. And this is where the hybrid cloud comes into play. Hybrid cloud provides an orchestration, management, and application portability and manage them to present them in by maintaining the best of the world. But for all of these to be not just an abstract talk, let's talk a more practical route, the thing we do at GOD, the magic that allows us to put cars into sky. We already know what clouds do, right? But how does this correlate to our cars? After all, isn't it just a hunk of metal thrown out by a productive line? Not exactly. That's just the exterior of the car, but there's more than just what meets your eye. Modern cars are built into code. Do you know that the amount of written code inside a car is 10-fold bigger than on a smartphone operating system? I hope now you understand the importance of cloud for modern car manufacturers. The physical elements of a car are made down on Earth, but without its brain, this thing that is made in the cloud isn't worthless a piece of scrap metal. Now let's talk about our client who produce electric cars. Electronic cars are inseparable from their electronic unit or ECU. For those in the audience that don't know what an ECU is, it's an embedded system that controls many functions of a modern car. Without its brain, the car wouldn't be reality. Many functions like ESP, ABS, or infotainment system, air condition, and for sure, driver assistance system, and many more are necessary things cars need to be a safe transport vehicle. So, what our client need and want, he wants to have a continuous integration for electronic controlled unit. And as you can imagine, we have a lot of challenges here. But challenges are parts what makes our job fun. We need to come up with a reasonable cloud strategy, implementing the right things. We had a lot of legacy dependency, like not relocatable license server or for testing purposes, connected test devices in local area, which such complex target, we had to decide which service we want to provide and which to adapt. And this is where our terraforming ingenuity does it magic. This is how we create hybrid cloud for our customer. By choosing the private cloud, we satisfy security and regulation requirements because a private network is behind a secure firewall. This enables the possibility to connect local network devices to a private cloud service. And on the other side, we have the possibility to use provided operating system images and update server. This also offers the scalability and the resilience to use public cloud computing resources or storages to scale up, for example, with virtual machines. On the other hand, having a connected public cloud offers the usage of software configuration management tools like Atlassian Tool Suite, Repository Manager, or Azure Services. All in all, with this hybrid setup, we have the flexibility to reduce the costs of spinning up, spinning down resources for our customer, as we have project needs. Yeah, so in conclusion, we already talked about the benefit in a hybrid cloud. One, of course, is the scalability. The other is the flexibility and the resource efficiency. And as my speaker before me tell, for sure, what we add in this project additionally comes out of the DevOps topic. We have an automated container-based deployment that allows us to scale up project in a way we need. On the other hand, the connection of a repository manager hosted in a public cloud allows us shipping thousands of artifacts with the scalability of the cloud vendor. The automated deployment of services allows us weekly shipping of our services on different instances used by thousands of people. And now we can be more focused on optimization of our business and not operating services. So I've repeated many times how we deploy cars into sky. Well, by doing that, we help our client to deploy a lot of cars out in the sky. Thank you.
Guys, thanks a lot for listening. Now it's your time. Grab a drink if you don't have, and enjoy the food. During the way, we will prepare everything for the so-called mob programming challenge. You can eat during the challenge, and we explain during the way what it's all about. But take a break. Thanks. All right, guys. You can still talk, it's fine. Now we are coming to the third part, so to say, of our venue, of our presentation, of our keynote. It's the mob programming challenge. So what is this thing all about? Well, the mob programming challenge is basically a methodology, or mob programming in general, and with this methodology, which is derived from Agile values, we would like to showcase you how a bunch of random and brave students over there will solve together with Pavel a coding task. Well, we maybe not understand everything, but it's fine. We think that this will be, let's say, for you a nice opportunity to witness how, let's say, real coding tasks are solved in reality. And Pavel will give you, let's say, more details about it. Huh? Where's the clicker? Here you go.
So how it works, we want to have a mob programming, and it means we have one computer, one task, and one dev group. And the dev group is, we have one driver is just writing the code. He's just thinking about the code and the rules, how to bring the idea to Java. We have the navigator, and the navigator explains the driver the way how to implement the code. And we have a mob the developer who is thinking in big pictures about the solution of the problem. And we have facilitator, it's like the moderator. He can, for example, say what is the task is, or who is the navigator from the mob. And why we are doing, first point is, of course, is know-how sharing. If you have 4 developers who is working on the same method and you have any bug there, you have one team who is responsible for the solution or fixing of the bug. You have directly code reviewing, because sometimes you have 2 code reviewer and the direct feedback about the code reviewing is missing. So sometimes it takes days for waiting for feedback and to discuss about the feedback of the code reviewing. Today we want to implement in the test-driven way. In test-driven way, it means first you think about what you want to implement. After that, you create the test, and test is requirements like a technical specification about what should your method provide. You write the test is failing, test is red. After that, you create the production code, and your production code must get the test green. So therefore, everybody speaks in this case about the green-red cycle. And after that, it's possible to refactor your code. And in this case, you are in green-green cycle. So guys, what we want to implement today, we want to implement a stack. It's a kind of collection. First in, last out. It means first item is in the bottom and the last item is in the top. And we want to implement just 3 methods for a stack. First method would be push item to the stack. Second method would be pop from the stack. And top just to check which element do you have on the top of the stack. So let's implement these methods. We have one driver today. Driver, can you go to a computer? We have a mob here. Where are our students? Igor could be the student as well. It's never too late to learn. So, and we have one navigator. Also, you have the code here. So please start to implement isEmpty method and check or think about what is the simplest way could be. Could you start the music, please? But not so loud.
Okay, firstly we need to implement the isEmpty method for the stack. So can the mob think of ideas how to do it in this case? By using test-driven development. And I will communicate the idea that the mob produces. Okay, so the mob thinks we should start with the test. So if the driver could start writing the test for the isEmpty method. I suppose you could initialize the stack as well. The very basics. Okay, so mob, how we will check if the stack is empty? Yes. Assert what? Okay, so the mob thinks that we should test if the stack is empty by checking its size. So first we should, yes, assert if it's true that the stack is empty. And I would also like the driver to implement the example implementation of isEmpty. Okay, so if you could try to run it. As we can see, the test is failing because there is no implementation yet. And the mob already discussed that we should keep track of the stack size. And so if you could, you should, in the isEmpty method, check if the size is 0. Okay, so we have a green test. So that will be the isEmpty method.
Done. The first isEmpty. So now it's green. Go to the next method. Implement the push.
So up next will be the push method. If you could, the driver should implement the example test. You should start by creating a new stack in the push test. Okay, mob, so what should we test? How should we test this method? Can we test with only size in this case? Okay, so firstly we should at least initialize the stack and also attempt to call the push method. And check if the stack is empty, but the check should be assert false, because the stack should not be empty. And and I would also like the driver to write the example implementation. So example implementation just without any actual implementation. Okay, so the mob thinks that we can, by using push, we can just increase the size. Because the mob already assumed that the test will fail. Just without the return, just increase the size. So the test is green. Should we also test anything else for the push method? Or we can move on. I suppose we can move on to the pop method. Could the driver please write the pop method, the test?
Cool, so it's done. Next, pop.
So the driver should write the example test, where he should initialize the stack. And also you should initialize the object as a new variable. Okay, so how will we test the pop method? Okay, so first we should try to push an item into the stack. And we should also test if the pop method returns the same object we pushed. And we could also check if the stack is empty, since we used pop after push. I would also like you to write the example implementation for pop. Okay, so the test is failing. Any ideas from the mob? What we should do? So we should implement an array. And we should also change the push method so that each time the push is called, we insert the new object into the array. And the index of that would be the same size plus plus. So now that push is done, what about pop? What should we return? And what we should do? Okay, so we should return objects and minus minus size, so that we return the correct object, but also decrease the size.
Cool, it's
The
done.
test is green, so we can move on to the last method, which should be peak. So first start off with writing the test method, where you initialize the stack and the object, like last time. Also new object. So, mob, how should we test this? I suppose we can do the same thing, but where we push the object so that something exists in the stack. And how do we test it though? What do we check? Okay, so we can check if the objects are equal from the peak method and also the object we just put in. And we could also check the size if it's not empty. That it's not empty, yes. So the test is failing.
Now we are in the red.
What should we do to test it? I think I get the idea. Okay. So we can return from the objects array the last item. So it would be size -1.
So it's green.
Tests are green.
Thank you, guys. And I think you will get some gifts for your nice job. That's all.
Thank you.